Dear viewers, good afternoon. I am Dr. Mojibur Doftori. Warm welcome from British Bangla News TV program of today. Hope you all are fine during this global corona pandemic. Hope the situation is improving in your part of the world. This program is broadcasting live from Facebook and YouTube channel of British Bangla News TV from London. Today, my talk show program is titled Religious Tolerance and Diversity in the Age of Disinformation. Today, we have three special guests from Europe who are experts and working on promoting religious diversity in Europe and across the world. They are Dr. Marika Djolai. She is a key expert and team leader, Global Exchange on Religion in Society, GERIS. It's a European Union funded networking project on inclusion and societal resilience building. Dr. Marika Djolai, you're welcome in the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. We have Mrs. Danica Dosha Ilic. She is a prominent journalist and trainer who worked in B92 and BBC. Our areas of interest are digital media, civic engagement, ethical journalism, and media diversity. Mrs. Danica Dosha Ilic, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me tonight with you.
Thank you. And we have Mrs. Nejra Kadic Meskic. She is the CEO of Center for Cultural Dialogue, CCD. It's based in Croatia, and also Associate Islamic Community of Croatia. Mrs. Nejra Kadic Meskic, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you. Dear viewers, we are living in a digital age. A smartphone with internet connection is a powerful tool available to individuals throughout the world. It has made the world truly a global village because of connectedness and instant messaging via social media platforms. It has opened up a new horizon of knowledge acquisition and personal development. It helps making indie authors, celebrities, and serving local and global justice issues. It has also opened up the Pandora's box. Problems of nation building, democracy, and identity issues are amplified and exacerbated due to mass social media outreach. It has something to do with lack of inclusive and quality education, and not to mention about lack of media literacy among a vast majority of global population. Those have contributed to rising religious intolerance. Social media works as a tool for fueling misinformation, hate speech, and stoking violence in many parts of the world nowadays. In this age of digital disinformation, we have organizations and projects to promote religious tolerance and harmony and diversity. Our guests today belong to this category of people. They are peacemakers and change makers who will give us their valuable insights about promoting religious tolerance and diversity across the world. My first question is to Dr. Marika Djolai, who is the team leader of Global Exchange on Religion in Society, GERIS. Please tell us about GERIS and your work in the project, how it works, and what it is trying to achieve.
Thank you very much, and I'm really happy to be here. GERIS, so Global Exchange on Religion in Society, is a 2-year EU-funded project which has built a network of 150 civil society actors and 30 journalists who work together to promote religious diversity, to promote tolerance, to promote and bring together ideas from their own experiences and exchange them with their colleagues in the network. What's really important and I think interesting about our work is that our project, GERIS, incorporates people from both religious and non-religious backgrounds. And this happened because through initiation of this project, we did some research and we did some consultations and came to a conclusion that both religious and non-religious actors often work on very similar or identical societal issues, but very often also there is no conversation between them simply because they come, somehow there is a boundary between religious and non-religious. So I'd like to say that the main aim of GERIS is to bring together all of these actors, civil society actors who work on similar societal issues, and to give them a possibility to exchange their ideas, to exchange their experiences with colleagues across the globe. We have representatives in the civil society cohort from 55 countries and journalists from 17 countries. So it's a fantastic representation and great potential to create this global conversation about what role the religion plays in a society.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Marika Djolai, for your nice presentation. Now, I'm requesting Mrs. Danica Dosha Ilic to answer the question. How do you view the role of social media in promoting misinformation, hate speech, and violence throughout the world?
Definitely, social media has a great role in promoting and spreading false narrative, misleading narratives, disinformation, hate speech, and religious intolerance. But also, I think when we talk about social media with its negative consequences to the society and to the tolerance in the society that we are all building, I think that we should also say that social media has a positive role, because many of the marginalized communities, not only in terms of religion, but also all sorts of minorities that are differentiate due to age, sexual orientation, ethnic minorities, religious minorities, they also find they're maybe not safest space, but they find they can build their own community on social media. Let's not forget that at the beginning, we thought that social media will play this democratic role, and that networking or building networks such as Facebook and Twitter and Instagram will bring the conversation and discussion between ordinary people, or as Professor Jay Rossen from New York State University used to say, people that used to be known as audience. So the audience that I'm a journalist, my background is in media. We have to say that the mainstream media in the 20th century played this role of information gatekeepers. The information was contained within the media. And then we had social media at the beginning that we thought will play the role of democratization of the conversation, which did not happen, mainly because the founders of those social media networks are capitalist, neoliberal, big tech companies that have profit in their mind. But also we still have to say that spreading disinformation, religious intolerance, hate speech, and really lies and misleading narratives, such as, in Europe, we have this huge anti-migration narrative. And on social media, you can read all sorts of nonsense, I would say, even fascistic statements. So we have those, but also we have an army of peace builders and people who are countering hate speech and those disinformation. So I would say we have to be fair and say that we can find both.
Yeah, thank you. I want to add a small question that what are the causes of the problem? Is it the tech companies' profit orientation or people's mindset? What causes this negative impact?
I think that the core of the problem of disinformation is mistrust. We have mistrust in institutions, mainly in all sorts of governments, state institutions, police, church as institution, in health system as an institution. So the people who found themselves mistrusting the institution tend to believe all sorts of conspiracy theories, fake narratives, fake news, etc. For instance, I'll just give one example. You know, a country in Europe that has the highest vaccination rate is Spain, and the explanation is very simple. They have great trust in their health system. So there is no disinformation about anti-vaccine movements and conspiracy theories that Bill Gates is putting microchips in us in Spain. You can't hear disinformation promoters in mainstream media in Spain because they trust their health system. So I think the core of the problem is mistrust.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Danica, Dosha, Ilic. My next question is to Mrs. Nejra, Kadic, Meskic. In areas of community dialogue and peace building, what are the impacts of digital revolution? Is it positive, negative, or both? Please tell your experience in the Balkans.
So firstly, hello to all the participants and panelists of this show. I'm happy to be here and to share the experience of not actually from Balkans and from Croatia. I'm based in Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, but originally I'm from Sarajevo, and I worked with countries all over the Balkans. Well, regarding to this digital transformation and peace building, I think that digital transformation is really present here, and it has a huge role actually also in spreading positive news and also reshaping these narratives. I work in Center for Culture Dialogue, and that is an NGO that actually leads one big project. That's the name of the project is New Neighbors, and it's focused on inclusion of people that have been granted with international protection into Croatian society. And I must say also that related to what Dosha said, trust building is the main focus of our work that we try to reach through the dialogue. So dialogue, we recognize the dialogue as a tool to build trust between people with different identities. Let's say it like this, and this and digital transformation actually plays a huge role in reshaping these narratives. If we talk about, for example, migrations, refugees and migrants in Europe, our goal, also working in Croatia and also in Balkans, is also reshaping these media narratives that exist regarding refugees and migrants. That's one of our biggest goal. And the new technologies being available and reaching the people on applications or places that they visit daily is really important in this process of reshaping narratives.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nejra, Kadic, Meskic. My next question is to Dr. Marika Djolai. Your organization, GERIS, works in many countries of the world, from Asia, Africa, Latin America, and elsewhere. So what are the key challenges people face today while working for religious tolerance and diversity? What's your experience, and what is the experience of your project?
Thank you very much. I think it's a really important question. So as I said already, first we have participants from 55 countries, from different backgrounds, but all of them are somehow connected or interested in religion, for sure. And then we're implementing projects in 6 countries, in Bosnia, Belgium, Indonesia, Morocco, South Africa, and the US, which means that one group of our project participants is traveling to each of these countries on an exchange visit to meet with stakeholders and local organizations, exactly to exchange experiences and to talk about the challenges they're facing. I think today one of the main problems is actually that religious diversity or religious pluralism doesn't necessarily imply or mean tolerant pluralism. You know, and I think everyone on the project is actually struggling with this notion that in many societies where they're working on, you know, yes, religious pluralism is present, but it doesn't mean that tolerance is a way that people choose to operate. And then also what my colleagues have already talked about is access to information has become now through digital age, has become manipulation of information. So today it's much more difficult, I would say, for people who work from, especially from religious background or who engage in religion. It's much more difficult for them to really separate, you know, what religion is, how individuals perceive religion, and what individuals are facing on daily basis about religion through digital technology. I think what connects everyone in GERIS project is certainly intention to observe, to understand, to learn, to exchange, and to engage with the others. So in that sense, I think we have a unique group of people who are both tolerant and understanding of pluralism and respectful of diversity.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Marika Djolai. My next question is to Mrs. Danica Dosha Ilic. What mainstream media and journalists can do to promote truth, empathy, and diversity throughout the world? Any general journalist, average or general journalist who can do in their community, in their state, and internationally?
I think they can do a lot, and they have to, they should do much more. So part of my work that I do for Media Diversity Institute based in London is actually promoting diversity and training journalists how to report on diversity, including how to report on religion. I think basically that the mainstream media has one problem, and that is the lowering ethical standards. And it is connected because media is the mirror of a society. So you have a problem that with dying print, with digitalization, and as Nejra said, digital transformation, we are chasing profit. We are chasing more followers, more readers, more viewers. And we are actually turning into clickbait, sensational, tabloid style reporting news or online portals. We still do have, and at least I live in the UK. So in the UK, you have this serious media and you have tabloid. But more often you can see the mistakes that responsible journalists or responsible editors make. The difference between, let's say, The Guardian and The Observer and The Independent and, let's say, Daily Mail, the Mail or The Sun is that The Guardian is transparent about the mistake. We had this famous example, and I really like to use it, of New York Times, who apologized to its readers in 2004 for not reporting on basically a plan of the White House at the time to bomb not only Afghanistan, but the main goal was Iraq. So by avoiding to report the topic, New York Times, after a year, realized that they owe an apology to the readers. So I would say transparency about our own mistakes as media workers. Then another thing, I think that there is not enough link or connection between newsrooms and the community. For instance, how many religious minorities we do have in the newsrooms around the world? We need to have diverse newsrooms in order to have better diversity to report on different topics. You can't report on religious minority or religious community just by phoning them when you need that comment or statement saying, would you be interested in the interview? No, I would not be, because I don't trust you. We need to build a relationship. So I would say, in order to do that, we first we have to diversify our newsrooms. That means also the editorial boards. First, we need to have greater gender balance and gender representation on a senior level. Then we need to have more diverse boardrooms, editorial boards, and newsrooms in order to achieve greater diversity in the media, mainstream media.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mrs. Danica, Dosha, Ilic, for your information. And now I request Mrs. Nejra, Kadic, Meskic. The question is, what are key ingredients of confidence and trust building in communities? Please tell from your own personal and organizational experience.
The starting point of our work in local communities, when we work with diverse groups or migrants or refugees, actually with youth also, like to build this trust. And as I said, we use dialogue as a tool to reach that. Of course, that we need to create gatherings that will gather actually people that have different views, people, diverse groups, groups in which you have people with different identities, and put them, gather them around some idea or something that is common. We usually use art and culture activities, because art and culture speak this unique language that can be used by every person. And then when this art and culture event gathers them, then the dialogue, the real dialogue that can lead to intercultural and interreligious dialogue can happen in these gatherings. For example, they start talking about some painting or I don't know, some music, and then they say, okay, in my country we do it like this, in this country we do it like this, or in my religion it's like that, in my religion is like this. These are like so we use art and culture as some starting points to start the conversation, and then actually the real dialogue happens. And when we have dialogue, then we really learn a lot about others, and they learn about us. And there is, in the in the end of every dialogue, they learn that we are all like they conclude that we are all humans. So through this dialogue, actually, the trust is built between the people that were participating in dialogue, and that is then the field to build intercultural societies. Tolerance is not really like the word that we like to use in our communities, because we don't want to tolerate other culture or other societies or other religions. We want really to understand them, to accept them, and not to coexist with other people in some area or some community, some country. We really want to live together with people that are different by the culture, by nationality, ethnicity, religion, or all other dimensions of integration. So I would say, like the dialogues, and to create this time and the space where different people will meet, and always use some unique event, something that has a unique language to gather different people at the same time in the same place.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Nejra, Kadic, Meskic. My next question is to Dr. Marika, Djolai. What are your advice to our audience, particularly the youths, for building tolerant, empathetic, and diverse communities?
I think it's a great question, particularly when it comes to youth, because obviously people at the start of their life in terms of age are a great potential, and it's really important for them to learn how to think about their engagement in the society. But I would say also that exactly this generation of people, young people, are the ones most exposed, engaged on social media, but also mostly exposed to different misinformation, simply by due to the level of their engagement. So the advice that I would give to them, it's not, I mean, first of all, it's important to get information about different religions, about people who they meet from different religious backgrounds, with whom they interact every day on daily basis, at school, in the neighborhood, in sports activities. It depends, of course, where they live. But it's not about just about getting information. What is really important and essential is to then think about the ways how to engage purposefully with these people who may differ from them. You know, it's not just, I know that you look different, or I can tell by your outfit or what you're wearing that you might be from a different religious background than I am, or I'm an atheist and you're not. It's really about thinking of ways how to engage with these other people, and then through these to build interactions, and through these interactions, daily interactions, small interactions, it doesn't have to be big to start with, but really to develop their own knowledge, but also to develop critical thinking, and in the way that this is what I'm reading on social media, but this is what I'm actually seeing. So which one is true? So it's very, it's very important for young people to build their own experiences, and to engage critically with their lives, with their everyday life and societies where they live in, because that's the way to build influence, and that's the way I think for moving forward. Otherwise, we're all our perspective is not very bright.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marika Djolai, for your valuable insights about peace and community building around the world. My next question is to Mrs. Danica Dosha Ilic. The question is, in your opinion, what are the preconditions for durable peace in communities and across the world?
Wow, that's $1 million question. But it's very important, actually. I think it's very important, and our discussion and the questions that you're asking, there's not enough debates about those topics online or in mainstream media. So I'm grateful for your questions. I think there is a connection between the lowering of ethical standards and the lowering of ethical way of living in today's world. And when Marika said about perspective not being bright, I suddenly had in mind a climate summit in Glasgow. And I've heard on news yesterday that the Israeli minister, who is woman with disabilities, couldn't attend summit because the shuttle bus who was taking participants to the summit wasn't equipped for people with disabilities. We are talking about the highest summit on climate change in the fifth economy in the world, in Great Britain. So while we have those types of exclusion of people that we consider, majority of us consider the other, then we are really bound to the apocalyptic end. But I think in terms of the efforts, such as, for instance, GERIS project, or the Media Diversity Institute's programs, or the ethical, responsible, professional journalists, my colleagues, who are doing their work in countering disinformation, in promoting diversity and differences between the communities, then we still can do something. the only thing that we can do, I would say, is to have more positive examples and just to not maybe put so much effort in countering the negative populistic, intolerant, hate speech style narratives that we are seeing not only on social media or media, but in everyday lives, but also to turn to the positive examples and to really get to the moral imperative in us. If I can say something that general and philosophical, but I think that maybe going back to the roots and really strengthening our value system can help.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mrs. Danica, Dosha, Ilic. So you are talking about putting some positive examples rather than criticizing the negatives. Is it so? Okay, thank you. My next question is to Mrs. Nejra Kadic Meskic. It is, in your opinion, what are preconditions of peace? How it can be achieved at personal and societal level?
In my opinion, it's really important for all of us, like, because we are all the stakeholders of peace, and all of us living together. It's really important for all of us to be included in these processes. Somehow, when I see and try to look at the situation in the world, and even in my country and my neighbor countries, I always see like some stakeholders that are not so involved in these processes, and they should and could really have a great impact to reconciliation, peace building, and all of us living together in harmony in our societies. I must also raise the question of the role of religious leaders in communities and societies. I think that they have a great role. We have a lot of people that are actually followers of different religions, and religious leaders should use this position and spread the word of peace to all of the believers of their religions. They should be more involved in these processes. And when I say more involved, that means that they should use all these media that we have in this digital transformation that we had, to use social media to spread their messages and send like the strong calls for everyone, but especially for youth, to be the driving force of change that we really need in society, especially if we are talking about Balkans. Also, media has a great a role in all these processes, and I think that we are, especially after and during this COVID pandemic crisis, we all face these negative statistics, negative stories. I think that media should use this time and this space to share positive stories, because we have a lot of them. We have a lot of stories that NGO sectors work on peace building, interreligious, intercultural dialogue, integration, that should get more space in media and should be more visible to public. So, like, I could say it's synergy of all stakeholders is like the way how to get to this peace in the world, and we should motivate all stakeholders to be more engaged in this process, because we are really all of us are really interested in reaching this harmony in our communities.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Nejra Kadic Meskic. Dr. Marika Djolai, my last question is, do you have anything to tell to the stakeholders around the world about how to, any suggestion or anything what you have not talked yet to the audience? Can you unmute it from your side?
I just want to come back to the point of peace and building peace. You know, I think it's really important to not be judgmental, and also not to insist on strict categorizations or on boxing these big concepts like peace, like religion, like faith, like trust, into something that has to be or can be managed. People build peace every single day through many different ways and actions. And I think it's really what is important, and my message to the stakeholders would be open-mindedness. So it's not, we cannot operate, societies cannot and should not operate within rigid categories that are imposed by liberal state, liberal thinking, the different philosophies or different religious philosophies. It's important to be open-minded, because then anyone and everyone can find examples of what they're looking for, be it peace, be it faith, be it some kind of a peaceful orientation within oneself, that can be found everywhere around us. And I think it's really important for us to engage with what is around us rather than focusing on what is being said in a public discourse and forgetting who we are, and we are humans.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marika Djolai, for your valuable comments and analysis. So I request Mrs. Danica Dosha Ilic to give her last, if she has anything to tell to the audience about these issues.
I think you posed a question to Marika about youth. And I think although we do focus on youth and we are training them on media literacy, on tolerance, peace building and everything else, but somehow I have a feeling that maybe in return we should also listen to them more. Maybe that would be my advice to the stakeholders, to listen more of younger generation, and generally to listen more to each other. I do remember a story. I don't know whether your viewers, whether you told them the story already. If you didn't, I would really request you telling a story about hummingbird and the elephant. Okay. And that is actually maybe the answer to the questions what we can do and how we're building peace and trust every day. It is a very good, and I still remember, and I go back to that point. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Danica Dosha Ilic. And the story I should tell probably to the audience. The story is that one small bird, the smallest bird in the world, hummingbird, heard one day that the sky will fall down. So this bird put its two legs up to stop the sky from falling. So when an elephant was going beside it, and it asked the hummingbird, "What are you doing?" Then the bird said, "Well, I heard that today the sky will fall, so I'm trying to stop it." So then the elephant said that, "Well, you have so small legs, how can you possibly stop the sky?" Then the hummingbird said that, "Well, I am doing my beat. If you do your beat and everyone does his or her beat, then we can stop the sky from falling." So this is very interesting. Thank you for remembering the story while you were lecturing us in Belgium in GERIS workshop. Thank you so much for remembering it. So now I request Mrs. Nejra Kadic Meskic to give her last words to our audience and different actors.
I think actually it's perfect that we end up with this story, like to conclude, because the story really sends a great message. And actually I would conclude with these words, that I think that if we all act as a good neighbors, then actually we will all live in diversity and we will not have the conflicts between each other, just to apply this rule of being good neighbors. And I think that continuing on your story, every step, even though from our perspective it seems that they are the small steps, they are really important steps. If every one of us, so that this is like the apple to all the activists and volunteers, just continue to making the small steps, because every step actually counts and every step is important. And a number of small steps actually make a big picture.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Nejra, Kadic, Meskic. We are near end of this program now. I take this opportunity to thank our distinguished guests for managing their valuable time for British Bangla News TV. I thank Dr. Marika Djolai, key expert and team leader, Global Exchange on Religion and Society, GERIS. Thank you so much, Marika, for joining us.
Having me today.
Thank you so much again. And thanks to Mrs. Danica Dosha Ilic, a prominent journalist who worked in B92 and BBC. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. And I also thank Mrs. Nejra Kadic Meskic. She's the CEO of Center for Cultural Diversity, CCD, Croatia, and Associate Islamic Community in Croatia. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for this invitation. I was really glad to be here and to all of us be in some kind of dialogue, actually, and sending the great messages to public.
Thank you so much. I also thank you, the viewers of British Bangla News TV in United Kingdom, Finland, Europe, Bangladesh, India, and elsewhere for staying with us, giving us your valuable time. Please stay safe and keep your family and community safe. It's time to say goodbye for now from me, Dr. Mojibur Doftori, and British Bangla News TV team. Bye for now.